Now we will begin to create some lights. Once both of the lights are turned on, it will move a door that we will create here. So let's bring in those lights, which will be found in the starter content, and then props, and then we'll scroll down and you've got this static mesh lamp wall. So bring that in, come over here, push F2, and if you hold shift it will move with that object, and we're going to just rotate that 180 degrees. Now this is actually quite small. I want that for this demo a lot more bigger, so I'm going to click this lock button here so it scales it uniformly, and then I'm just going to change that to 5. Okay, that's too big. 2.5. There we go. And then just make sure that that is put to the wall. Okay. And then if we hold Alt down and shift, we can move and bring that over here as well. Now for the door, we will just use a go to architecture. We'll just have this wall here. Just rotate that. That's a bit small, so we'll get a bigger one. Okay, we'll try this one. So we're using a 400 by 300. Just rotate that, bring that over here. We want it behind. I'm just going to bring it up slightly. So there we go, we've got a door there, and then we can just shove on a material for that if we like. So let's use this High-Tex hex tile, and then that will compile and put that texture onto there. So next we're going to want to actually have some lights which we can turn on. So if we go to modes and go to lights, we'll just get a point light, click and drag that into here. Push G because my nose were hidden then. Click F to focus. Did not want to do that. Just bring that back so it's just on top of the light, right, and there. Okay. Just want to make sure that that is actually centered in place. Bring it back a little bit more, and there we go. Okay, and then just like the other light, we can hold Alt Shift down, click and drag that over here. We're doing it this way because what we want to do is we're going to use the level blueprints for these both lights, and then we'll go over blueprint classes a little later on. Because we want these lights, we're going to have different color values to them, so I'm going to click light color over here. I'm just going to make this one red, and then this one over here we're just going to make blue. Okay, there we go. You also want to make sure that if we hold shift and click, both of these are set to movable objects, which the text is just going out the window. So if I do that again, pretty much it makes it totally dynamic, allows dynamic shadows, and then we have our lights on, and if we click play from here, I'm not entirely sure. Okay, that didn't go as movable. They didn't go as movable, so we just changed that there. Just gonna open up my click play from here. And then as you see, we've got both these lights, but they're already on and there isn't a way to toggle them. So we will do that next. What we're going to do is with these lights, shift click, I'm going to come down here, and you turn off visible. So now both of them are not visible and they are now not on. Next we're going to go into the modes and type in trig, and then we're going to use a trigger volume and just place it at the bottom of that light. It didn't seem to have come in, so we'll do that again. And then Alt Shift drag, so we got two of them. Okay, I'm just going to quickly rename this light to red light, and this one to blue light. Okay, great. Now we want to add the functionality so that once we hit this trigger volume, we can use the use button, which should be E. We'll have a quick look at that, which is edit. Go to edit, project settings, come down to input. Let's make this window a bit bigger. And yes, here we have is these bindings for the action map use is set as E. So just close that. Go to blueprints, open level blueprints, and now we're inside of our level blueprints. If we click on this trigger volume here, we'll start creating some overlap. So once we overlap, so if you type in overlap, make sure context sensitivity is on, and at the top you have event trigger volume 2.4. If we rename this, it might be a lot easier to read. So with this trigger volume, we're just going to name that red trigger. World outline, and we're just going to select the second one with that and call that blue trigger. Okay, that'll make it a little bit easier for us. So we go to level, blueprints, right click, and then we can type in overlap, and then add on actor begin overlap. So this detects it when we've begin the overlap. And then we're also going to right click and make a end overlap. That's not the one that we want. Let's try that again. End overlap, and add on actor end overlap. So this is detect when the player has left that trigger volume. And we're just going to create a variable. I'm going to call this right overlap, red overlap, sorry. Bring that over, and we're going to make this as a setter. So we want it so that once we are inside of this trigger volume, it's going to set this as this boolean as true. And then if we Control C and Control V, copy and paste that, and we want it so that once you exit the overlap, it would say that it's false. So next, just hit compile and make sure we are saving, and just click save. And then next we want to right click, go and type in input use. Then you have this action event which is used for the use key binding. So once we press this key binding, we want it so that once we push E, it turns on the light. So we're going to drag out from press, type in branched, and then we have our branch condition here. And then with this red overlap, we're going to bring this over here and get that as a getter this time. Pop that into this condition here. So now once it's detected that the player is on the overlap, it will set this as true, and then true is where we're going to have our functionality. So if we click over here, make sure that you have your red light selected, and then we're going to drag out from true, set visibility. Sorry, we don't want to do that. So if you right click, again make sure that your light's selected, and then if we create a reference for this red light, drag out and then go set visibility, and then we can just click enter, Make sure that's through true. And we want it to now be visible, so we just check that. So we'll quickly test that out by click and play from here. And if we push E, the light turns on. Okay, so we want to do the same nodes. I'm going to bring that over here, and we're going to create another variable and create this blue overlap. And then we're going to just do the same with this one, which we can go begin overlap and then end overlap. Bring this in as a setter. You can copy and paste that, so we got it down there as well. Make sure that one set is true. And then with this, we could actually copy and paste this, bring it down here, make sure this is deleted so we can get the getter for the blue overlap and pop that into that condition. Get rid of that red light, make sure that we've selected this one, and then create a reference for this blue light. Put that in the target so it knows which one it's supposed to go for. Now if we play from here, we can toggle on the red light and toggle on the blue light. So next we're going to create the functionality so that once both of these lights are on, the door is going to open.